Okay, sit yourself down onto your left and come into a good cross leg position. Just have a little wriggle about. Just make sure you're feeling as though you're sitting evenly, and lift up into the heart area. So lift up into the heart area and draw your shoulders down away from your ears. Just look down at the floor, look at something that isn't moving. Listening to the sound of your breath as it enters and as it exits. Just focus on the movement of the breath, observing whether you are breathing evenly into both lungs and evenly out of both lungs. Just release your knees, bring your hands into Namaste. Press your palms firmly together, lengthen from the armpits into the elbows into the heels of your hands. And then with an exhalation, gently allow your eyes to close. Listen to the sound of the breath as it enters and as it exits. Just focus on filling the lungs and emptying the lungs. As you inhale, aim to breathe into the front of the chest, into the side ribs, and also into the back chest. Just allowing the physical body to accommodate the breath. So focusing on softening the breath, softening the body around the lungs so that you can breathe more fully and deeply, and observe how perhaps that frees up the brain. Gently draw your chin down to meet your chest. Just continuing to breathe non-resistantly into the full lungs. Spend a moment to seek to generate a genuine, heartfelt sense of gratitude for something or someone or somewhere. Hold on to that feeling of abundance in your heart area, and then release the backs of your hands down toward your knees. Palms facing upwards, and as you raise your head, allow your eyes to softly open and the focus to softly come back. Just hold onto your knees. Elevate the heart area upwards. Draw your shoulders down away from your ears. Take a deep inhalation in through the nose. And then exhale. So as you inhale, often we breathe to the front of the lungs, but try and give yourself space in the armpit, chest, and around the shoulder blade region, just so that you can really breathe and feel that the whole of the lungs expand. So allow the body to accommodate the breath. So deep inhalations, deep exhalations. Lift up into the chest. And with an exhalation, turn to the right side. Maintaining that breath into the full lungs. Allowing the body to accommodate the breath. Just observing how that brings clarity into the head. So we absorb more of the oxygen of each inhalation if the lungs are non-resistant. And then come back to the center. Just spend a few moments just breathing in this center point. Just feel how it feels to breathe when the body is just in a neutral position. And then lift the chest with an in-breath, and then turn with an out-breath, and just observe how it feels different because the body is in a different position, but try to maintain that non-resistance to the breath. Allowing the body to accommodate the breath. And then come back to the center. Just hold onto your knees. Lift up into your chest. Just allowing the ribs to expand, especially around the armpits. Allow the front chest to lift, and then feel that the breath moves into the back chest as well. So we can do a few rounds of brahmari, pranayama. So remember, this is an inhalation through the nose, and then we hum the out breath. So you hum on a low note so that you create resonance that clears out the sinuses, that clears out the brain fog a little, creates resonance in the throat and in the chest, and you can even draw it all the way down into the hips and into the legs. So it's a normal inhalation and a hummed exhalation until the lungs are empty. So take a normal exhalation, then an normal inhalation. Just one more. And then bring the breath back to a normal rhythm, but maintain the resonance. Observe where the resonance was and just try and hold on to that awareness, that feeling of the resonance. So there's quite a few colds in the group at the moment. So alternate nostril breathing is another good one for just helping to clear out just congestion. So remember, you breathe out through one nostril and then breathe in, and then you swap the nostrils, and then you breathe out and then you breathe in, and then you swap and breathe out and breathe in. You might need a hanky handy so it can loosen things up a little bit. So just have that handy if you need it. So we'll do 10. I'll try and keep count. So do it in your own time. Just don't follow my breath pattern. Just follow your own breath pattern, and you can make the breath quite forceful. So you're not trying to kind of knock yourself out with dizziness, but just you can breathe quite forcefully. Okay, so whenever you're ready, just start with an exhalation. So cover one nostril and then exhale. So just normal breathing to start off with. While you're working in this pranayama, just again allow the lungs to expand evenly. And then when you've done your 10, just bring your breath back to a normal rhythm. And just breathe evenly and deeply. Again, feeling that expansion of the ribs. Just come off your lift and just come up into dog down. So come onto all fours. Bring your hands as wide apart as the mat. Bring your feet as wide apart as the mat. And then with bent knees initially, just come up into dog down. Just be conscious of your breath. So don't be in a rush to crank yourself into the position. Just feel how the palms are pressing into the floor, how the seat bones are elevating up towards the ceiling, how the heart area is lifting up into the arms. Start to straighten the legs, allow the breath to move into the side ribs and the back chest as well as the front chest. Just observe how the breath feels different. Observe how the body at first won't feel evenly activating. So observe the breath, observe the action of the pose. Just focusing on the inhalations, inhaling evenly into the front chest, the side ribs, and the back chest. And then step your feet forwards, just come up into a standing position. Just bring your feet as wide apart as your mat. Lift up into your heart area. Lift the heart area up, draw your shoulders down away from your ears, and then elevate your arms up to the ceiling. Just take some deep inhalations. Again, just feeling how each different position affects the breath. So aim to address those differences. Bring your thumbs into the crease of the elbows, wrap your fingers around the elbows, and then hinge at the hips. And hang down. Breathing into the back chest, into the side ribs, into the front of the chest. Just release your hands down to the floor. Just come into half uttanasana momentarily, just extending the front chest forwards. Bring your hands onto your shins if you can't reach the floor. But try and elevate the heart area forwards. Reach the heart area forwards, keep the head lifted. Observe how the breath feels different, how you can breathe into the back chest. And then bring your hands into your hips and come up into a standing position, bending the knees on the way up if necessary. And then just be in Tadasana. So lift up into the chest. Elevate the heart area towards the ceiling and turn the palms of your hands to face outwards, just feeling how that draws the shoulder blades together. But that can prevent breath into the back chest, so just allow the body to give accommodation to the breath into the back chest. So maybe that means you have to soften the action of the shoulder blades a little, because often we overdo it. Bring your arms out nice and wide in towards your chest, and then step or jump your feet apart nice and wide with your legs lift up into the chest. Just have your hands on your hips, and again just observe the breath. Aiming to breathe into the back chest, but without letting the front chest drop. So keeping the heart area lifted. Turn the left toes in, the right leg and foot all the way out. Stretch your arms out. And then reach over to the left shin. The right shin, sorry. Turn the chest up to face the ceiling. And breathe. Feel in the lungs. Feeling how the pose makes a difference in the way that you breathe. So maybe you need to adjust to accommodate the breath. Because it's all very well kind of going for the photo perfect pose. If we can't breathe in the pose, then it's not doing its energetic purpose. We're not getting the most out of the pose. So breathe into the back chest. Come back to the center. Just keep your arms outstretched. Swap the feet around. Turn the right toes in a little. Left leg and foot all the way out. Take a deep inhalation and then come down on an out breath. Working to accommodate the breath, but still being in control of the pose. So this pose helps to clear out the sinuses. Just keep breathing into the side ribs, the back chest and the front chest. Breathing from the bottom of the lungs to the top. And then come back to the center, bring the feet parallel and then step or jump your feet back together. So lift up into the chest, elevating the heart area to the ceiling. Just breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. So we can do padangusthasana. So it's a standing forward bend. So you might need to use the belt around the big toes, and then you hold onto the belt like this, and then you just come forwards using the belt, but keeping the chest lifted. The biggest temptation when you do a forward bend is to come forwards with your head, but then you do the forward bending from the spine, and your spine isn't designed for that. So the forward action has to hinge at the hips. So just have your hands on your hips and just swing your hips forwards and back, so that you can really feel how the hips are relatively limber. Not everyone can say the same, unfortunately, of course, but there's definite movement in the hips, whereas in the back, don't try and do that because you're going to hurt your back. So you keep your head lifted in this pose. You keep your heart area lifted. Have your feet hip width apart. So we're going to come forwards, hinging at the hips, and then get hold of the big toes with the index finger and the middle finger. So just raise up your arms to the ceiling. So your feet are hip width apart, turning the toes inwards, and then raise up your arms. Tighten your kneecaps, turn the fronts of the thighs inwards. That action will give you more space in the hips. Lift up into the heart area, keep the heart area lifted, keep the head lifted, hinge at the hips, lengthening into the fingertips, lengthening the fingertips, lengthening into the middle of the room. Even when you can reach the middle, reach the floor, keep reaching forwards, keeping the heart area lifted and the head lifted. Then hook the index finger and the middle finger underneath the big toe, wrap the thumb around the outside of the big toe. Reactivate the legs, tighten the kneecaps, turn the fronts of the thighs inwards, and then lift the seat bones away from the backs of the thighs and extend the heart area forward. Allow the breath to accommodate the breath. So this is a forward extension, a standing forward bend. So hit the legs back, project the chin and the chest forwards. Try and straighten the back by lifting the heart area. But again, try and breathe into the back chest, into the armpit chest, into the front chest. So the in-breath rises from the bottom of the lungs to the top. The out-breath lowers from the top of the lungs to the bottom of the lungs. If you can go any deeper into the pose, you can bend your elbows out to the side, but keep the head lifted as you come down, drawing the body between the torso between the legs. But all the time, focusing on that accommodation of the breath. If you find that there's resistance, then stop, wait for the resistance to pass before you move in any deeper. So keeping the chest lifted, keeping the head lifted. Focusing on breathing into the back chest. Breathing into the armpit chest. And then just gently release your hands, just come into half uttanasana again, bringing your hands onto your thighs or your shins if you can't reach your toes or reach the floor, projecting the chin and the chest forwards. And then you might need to bend your knees in order to get there. I want you to walk your hands forwards towards the end of the mat, keeping your legs straight if you can. Have the hands shoulder width apart, have the feet hip width apart. And then just breathe evenly. Breathe into the top and the back of the lungs. Breathing in and out through the nostrils if you can. Nostril breathing delivers more nitric oxide to the lungs, which it uses to dilate the blood cells that absorb more oxygen because they're dilated. Nitric oxide in high quantities can help to boost the immune system. It can also have some antiviral properties. Feel how your body becomes full of energy, full of lightness. If you give yourself the opportunity to focus on the breath, to focus on the physicality of the breath. Okay, when you're ready, just come down onto your seat bones, just sit back on your heels. And then just lift up into the chest, just observe the energy that you have released through practice so far. And then come forwards into Adho Mukha virasana. Just filling the body with energy. Just continuing to feel back chest expanding with the in-breath, as well as the front chest, as well as the armpit chest. Allow there to be pressure on the forehead, between the eyebrows. Use a block underneath your head if your head doesn't reach the floor. So that gentle pressure on the forehead just brings quietness to the brain. And then just bring your hands underneath your shoulders and then just sit yourself back up. Again, just observe your energy. Okay, sit in cross legs, so whichever cross legs works best for you. So half padangusthasana or just swastikasana. Sit on a lift if you need to. Just hold onto your knees, lift up into your chest. Lift the heart area upwards, draw your shoulders down. And then take the chin forwards and then bring the chin down to meet the chest. Jalandhara Bandha. And then raise Mula Bandha, lifting the anal sphincter up towards the diaphragm region. And then just continue to breathe from the bottom of the lungs to the top. Breathing into the back chest and the side ribs, allowing the energy of the breath to radiate from the lungs and into the shoulders and the arms and into the chest and the legs. Breathing from the bottom of the lungs to the top. Just one more round of the breath. Finish on an exhalation, and then release Mula Bandha, release Jalandhara Bandha, and then elevate your heart up towards the ceiling, drawing your shoulders down away from your ears. Take a deep inhalation in through the nose, and then turn to the right side, just observing how that affects the ability to breathe fully. So make the body accommodate the breath. Come back to the center. Hold onto your knees, lift up into the chest, elevate the chest up to the ceiling, take a deep inhalation. And with the exhalation, turn to the left. I think I might have said left last time, turn to the other side. And then come back to the center. So we're just going to finish in our restorative surfboard pose, because it's a good way of just continuing this back breathing action. So get yourself a bolster, or if you haven't got a bolster, you can use some cushions. Just have, so you're going to lay face front onto there. And if you've got another, so this is a little homemade bolster that I've got, just a little one. So if you've got, you just roll up a blanket instead for that one. So you just have that underneath your shins, and then you've got a block and a blanket for your head. So you come onto the bolster along your front, and the most important thing here is that your head is free of the end of the bolster. So that kind of depends on your length of your torso, really. So for me, the bolster kind of comes into the pelvis region, but for you, it might be different. Just make sure that your chin is free of the end of the bolster, and then bring the blanket and the block close enough so that you can rest your forehead down on the lift, and then just rest your arms on the floor, either side of the shoulders, either side of the head. So just allow yourself to release into the pose. It's really nice for the shoulders and the neck. And then just breathe into the back chest. So we're going to do some back breathing. So this is with normal exhalations. But then you breathe into the upper back chest, into the shoulder blade region and out into the armpits. And then a normal exhalation. And then the second breath, you breathe into the middle of the back, around the lower ribs, and you breathe in to the lower ribs and into the middle of the spine and all the way out to the lower ribs, and then a normal out breath. And then the third breath is breathing into the bottom of the back and into the hips, and then a normal out breath, and then you cycle around top of the back, middle of the back, lower back. So whenever you're ready, just working with your own breath. Aiming to breathe non-resistantly. Okay, just bring the breath back to a normal rhythm. And then bring your hands underneath your shoulders and push yourself up into just sitting back on your heels for a moment. Breathe into the front chest. Observe your energy. Lightness of energy radiates out from the bones into the organs and the muscles, and the flesh and the skin. Draw some of that energy up into the brain. Using the in-breath to elevate the energy up into the brain. And then just sit yourself in cross legs. Sit on your bolster. Just come into cross legs with your hands in the masti, just a final spinal lift. Draw your breath this time down into the abdomen. Be conscious of the energy that you have released through your practice, that good, positive, healthy flow of clean energy that the extensions and the forward bends and the twists bring to the body and to the mind. And with an exhalation, draw your chin down to meet your chest. Spend a moment to acknowledge the positive energy you have created inside. And then send some of that positive energy out into the world. And then very gently release the backs of your hands down toward your knees, palms facing upwards. And as you raise your head, allow your eyes to softly open and the focus to softly come back. Thank you very much. So hopefully you feel as though you really released your energy, giving yourself lots of really light, positive energy into your day. So thank you very much for joining me.